For those of you that just got done listening to my bit on Kevin Durant, I hope you enjoyed that. And now I move on to the spectacle of sports that will take place next Sunday in the Meadowlands. And it will be between the Denver Broncos and Seattle Seahawks, aka Super Bowl 48. All this talk about Peyton Manning, everybody's talking about, oh, is he the greatest? Oh, is he doing this? I mean, as I'm doing this, I have SportsCenter muted in the background, and I'm watching, and that's the first thing that comes on the new edition of SportsCenter. But I think it's time I chime in on Peyton Manning's legacy, because I'm one of the few people who does sports radio that really hasn't said anything this week, and I decided to do something a little bit different. Last year I did my top 10s prior to Super Bowl, but I'm going to just break it down, do a little bit of a little bit. And I think as long as I'm doing radio shows for sports, I think I'm going to continue to break it down segment by segment by segment. Just do a little something every week. The Friday night, for everybody who's listening, will be when I do my official Super Bowl breakdown between the Broncos and Seahawks, so stay tuned for that. But now, on to Peyton Manning's legacy. The career numbers that Peyton Manning has accumulated at the course of his career is just scary. First off, 13-time Pro Bowler and 7-time All-Pro. Pretty sure those are records. As where he stands right now, he is number 2 all-time in career passes completed, passes attempted, passing yards. He's only 19th in interceptions. Number 2 overall career passer rating, 2nd in passing touchdowns. He is 3rd overall in passing yards a game. Net passing yards adjusted per game, he's number 1. Pass completion percentage, he's 4th. Game-winning drives with 51, he's 1st. His sack percentage and how quickly he gets the ball out of the pocket, out of his hands, is 2nd. Career yards accounted for, number 2 overall. Playoff games started, career 16th overall, active 2nd. And that's just a Pro Football Reference has to tell me. I mean, the guy set more records, almost as many records in football as Peyton Manning. As Roger Federer has in professional tennis. I'm just going to give you a few of them off the bat. The most seasons with at least 4,000 passing yards, 13. Most passing yards in a season. Most games with 40-plus pass attempts in a season, 10. 4 games with a career perfect passer rating. Most games with at least 4 touchdown passes in a season. He had 8 this year. One of only 7 quarterbacks with at least 6 touchdown passes in 2 games. Most wins by a starting quarterback in a decade. Regular season only 115. 4 MVP awards. Most touchdown passes in a decade. His numbers are sick. But that being said, where does he rank on my all-time list of the greatest quarterbacks? The list that I had prior to Peyton Manning's arrival, prior to Super Bowl, or right immediately post Super Bowl 44, which he lost to the Saints, I had him in 11th. And everybody who's listening is probably outraged. Oh, why do you have him in 11th? But look at the guys I had in front of him. I have the usual suspects of the greatest. I have Montana. I've got Staubach. See, I'll go through my top 10 list that I had immediately after Super Bowl 44, because I haven't updated this list in a long time. My 10 through 1, Sammy Baugh, Bart Starr, Tom Brady, Roger Staubach, Terry Bradshaw, Dan Marino, John Elway, Otto Graham, Joe Montana, and Johnny Unitas. Those are my top 10s, 1 to 10. Now, based on his accomplishments this season, I'm moving up to 7th. because that would put him only behind Bradshaw, Marino, Elway, Graham, Montana, Unitas. Now, I will say that in terms of regular season quarterbacks, he is clearly the greatest of all time. Nobody in the regular season will be able to accumulate mass numbers with such efficiency like Peyton Manning. But in the playoffs, he goes from being the greatest regular season quarterback of all time to being one of the most average quarterbacks in the postseason of all time. And I have numbers to prove that. In the regular season, I'm going to show you what he averages per game in his career. In his regular season career, per game he averages, he's played 240 NFL games. So that would mean, let's see, this could take a second. He averages 23 completions. And 35 attempts. For 271 yards, two touchdowns, and .91 interceptions. Now the playoffs, his playoff log is a little bit less impressive. He averages 25 attempts, 25 completions, I should say, for 25 completions on 38 attempts. His completion percentage drops. For 287 yards. 1.6 touchdown passes, and 1 interception. My opinion of Peyton Manning has been, and my reason why I don't have him in the top 3 or 4 greatest quarterbacks of all time is because of that. And because of the fact that I think with Tom Brady and a lot of those quarterbacks, I don't put him up there as high because of today's rules. And because it's so easy to throw the football, and because of the weapons Peyton's had. But I honestly, this season has changed my opinion of him. It really has. And here's why. Because the Denver Broncos had literally the same offensive staff the last 3 years pretty much. Add Wes Welker this year, who was a minor impact at best. Now, look what over the last few years some quarterbacks have done. Tebow and Kyle Orton have had no success with the football. And they've had a defense that was significantly, it's actually better than what Peyton Manning's had this year, less injuries. They were 6 and 5 win seasons. Look what Peyton's done. The greatest offense in history. He's taken guys that Tebow and Orton were having average games with. And he's just absolutely destroying teams. And the fact that in the playoffs this year, he has played so much better than he has in previous years. Like, it's astounding how much better he's played. If anything, that's been the biggest reason in his career he doesn't have more titles. Because of the fact that in the playoffs and the big games, he's not throwing the right pass at the right time. You know, namely the Super Bowl against the Saints, whether it be, you know, not completing the passes downfield against the Jets a couple of years ago, whether it be in Baltimore, the pass that goes intercepted by Kerry Williams, but that's beside the point. Peyton this year has taken a team with good players that were not necessarily great before he got there. And a defense that was one of the worst in the league. He's taken them to a Super Bowl. I think this offensive staff around Peyton Manning is overrated. I don't think Decker is that great. I think Welker's pretty good, but again, I don't think that he's, you know, like, as good as he's made out to be. I think Demaryius Thomas has some talent. And what was Julius Thomas before Peyton Manning found him? Nothing. What would Julius Thomas be without Peyton Manning? Probably not much. But the point I'm trying to make is that Peyton, above all, has been the reason why Denver is here at this point. And the fact that he has made, you know, this team so good. Just look at the numbers defensively for this Broncos team this year. 22nd in the league in points allowed. If you go by the Pro Football Reference defensive efficiency ratings, the Denver Broncos rate at a negative 2.7, which is 4th from last in the AFC, and 10th worst in the league. And that just goes to sum it up. Again, a team with weapons that weren't exactly, you know, household names or great players before he got there. He brought them there and made them stars. Demaryius Thomas a Pro Bowler for a reason. Julius Thomas a Pro Bowler for a reason. No Sean Marino's had a 1,000-yard season for a reason. No Sean Marino ain't getting 500 yards if he played on a team with a worse passing offense than this one. This season, though, he's been incredible. And the 55 touchdown passes, you know, the 5,477 passing yards, just the way he's dominated. I mean, there were games when Brady had his record season where he was very pedestrian. You didn't get that from Peyton. Peyton was as good as advertised pretty much every game. He was a shoo-in for 2-3 touchdowns a game this year. He had a game with 7 and a bunch of other games with 4. I mean, the guy literally threw 4 touchdowns in half his games. And he still threw 21 touchdowns in half the season. To put in perspective, half his games accounted for 32 touchdown passes. And then the other 21, you could divide that by 8, and you could divide that and make it a full season. That'd be a 42 touchdown pass season. That just goes to show how far ahead he was of everybody else. He's moving higher and higher on my all-time quarterback list, and if he does win the Super Bowl this Sunday, I will put him ahead of Tom Brady on my all-time list. And I will probably move him ahead of Bradshaw and Marino, and he will only trail Elway, Graham, Montana, Unitas. And the funny thing was, though, you know, I always had this beef that I think Roger Staubach was better and that Tom Brady was better because they had put better in the playoffs, and because, you know, Brady, I think, you know, is more clutch, and Staubach is obviously much more clutch, and he's more mobile. But none of those guys have been as effective this late in their career. I mean, Brady, we haven't seen it yet. We don't know what he's going to be like. Staubach had hung his cleats up at this point in his career. And Peyton went through 4 neck surgeries. Didn't know if he was going to be able to play again. And now he's going to win this MVP. Could have won the MVP last year. And in his 2 years in Denver, post-neck surgery,